Every mission has a story, and every story starts with the people behind the work. This is Under the Surface, a video series where we explore the voices driving innovation forward here at NSWC Carderock. The moment Dhiambi Otete was introduced to naval architecture, something clicked, and she's been making waves ever since. Today, we're exploring how curiosity, mentorship, and momentum launched her career and how she's already leaving behind her mark. So, let's dive in. So, Dhiambi, thank you for joining us for Under the Surface.
Yes,
we're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Can you start by introducing yourself to the audience, letting us know what you do here at Carderock and how long you've worked here?
Yes, so my name is Dhiambi Otete. I'm a ship design and integration engineer at Carderock. So I specialize in naval architecture, and a naval architect is a person who designs the ship from start to finish. So we will look at the general arrangements, the weights and stability, the resistance, seakeeping, anything and everything you can imagine to design a ship.
Nice. So just for those who aren't familiar with naval architecture, what makes a naval architect different from a typical architect? What are the overlaps between typical architecture and naval architecture?
Yeah, I would say that in naval architecture and architecture in general, we are designing a space and trying to make it great for whoever is living in there. Maybe an architect would design for a building or an apartment space, but for us, we're specifically looking at ships and making them Navy certified. Mm-hmm. A naval architect has a lot of engineering qualities that maybe regular architects don't delve as deep into. It's still a creative process, but we're also governed by a lot of calculations that will make the ship safe for the sailors who are on board.
Cool. I'm glad that you said that it's a creative process, because I think that architecture involves a lot of artistry, creativity, but also math and science, correct?
Yes, correct.
Can you tell me about a little bit about your background, where you grew up, how you got interested in STEM, what brought you to naval architecture?
Yes, so when I was younger, I really loved math and science. I was really lucky to have really great teachers who supported me and pushed me in everything I do. Actually, I remember in the second grade, I did a math challenge thing for my school, and I went all the way up to seventh grade math.
Really? In the second grade?
Yes.
And where'd you go to school?
I went to Cameron Elementary School.
Where's that located?
In Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I just really loved math growing up, and I continued it. And I think that once I started going into track, I really had to focus on time management, and I just loved the challenge of school. So in college, when I met my professor, Dr. McHugh, she really introduced me into naval engineering and Carderock as a whole.
Nice. Exciting. So you mentioned a professor that introduced you to Carderock and naval architecture. Can you tell me about your educational background and just that journey here to Carderock?
So at George Mason University, I studied mechanical engineering, and I was really lucky to have, again, great professors. In senior year, we had to do a senior design project, and my team built an unmanned surface vessel. And my professor, Dr. McHugh, was really monumental in this process, and she really opened me up to naval engineering and introduced me to Carderock. So I'll always be really grateful for her for showing me that world.
Nice. It's always good to have mentors who see gifts and can help guide us in directions that sometimes we don't know exist. So you had never heard of naval architecture prior to being introduced, but you were
a math genius already since second grade, competing against seventh graders, correct?
Yes.
You're already a math genius. I love it. Okay, so you come to Carderock. You've been here how long now?
I've been working here for 2 years.
Okay, so in 2 years, tell me what you have been working on. And let's just start there. Tell me what you've been working on since you've been here.
I've had a wonderful opportunity to go on so many different rotations, and I've really, really loved all of them. I guess I'll name a few just to start. One of the rotations, I was able to go to NSWC headquarters and work on ship concept designs that Rear Admirals requested. And it was really nice to engage with those Rear Admirals and my ship concept managers and see how it was to interact with different stakeholders. Another one of my rotations is something I'm doing right now. I'm working in a future concepts branch, and specifically working on a auxiliary ship. So we are taking a future concept or a future feature, and we're analyzing what would be the impact to the ship if we added this feature. So that's when you'll get into looking at how it affects the general arrangements, which will how it affect the weights and stability. And it's really awesome seeing these new technologies or new features get implemented on the ship.
That's very exciting. You are literally a part of building the future fleet.
Yeah, I really look forward to that, and it really provides me meaning in my everyday work that I do. So I'm so lucky to have that opportunity to engineer with also my fellow coworkers who are just as passionate about it as I am. I feel so lucky.
I love that. You know, we've talked a little prior, and I can say that I can feel your excitement about the work that you do, and it's natural that you genuinely enjoy the work that you do. So in that vein, tell me what outside of the work that you do brings you joy. What do you do that lights you up and makes you feel the way you do about the work you're doing at Carderock?
Yes, I think just as equal and opposite to my passion in engineering is my passion with running.
Not many people say that.
I know, right? We are unfortunately a turkey trot family, so we run every Thanksgiving. Okay. But anyway, I did track and field in college. I actually have a few collegiate records, and I was super passionate about that. And after college, I really wanted to continue helping out in some way. So I coached these little kids. I think they're age 7 to 12 years old. And at the end of the program, they actually do a 5K.
Wow.
Yeah.
At 7 to 12?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and it's really exciting because at the beginning, they don't really know how to run. They've never run a long distance before. So me and the coaches kind of guide them into being more confident and learning about happiness through running.
Yeah. You gain leadership skills by mentoring in that way. Have you had any opportunities to apply those leadership skills here at Carderock?
Yeah, last summer I was a team lead for the Naval Research Enterprise Internship interns, the NREP interns. We did a project on hydrodynamics and resistance. I really loved being a team lead for that program because I was able to teach them about hydrodynamics and resistance, and then we were able to apply what we learned to the computational resistance programs. So it was really awesome seeing them grow into more confident engineers and really developing their interest in naval engineering. So that was just so cool to kind of cultivate that trust in them and their passion as well.
Nice. So let me ask you, coming from being an athlete and being in that team atmosphere and having to learn how to collaborate, how do you apply those lessons or experiences to your work and how you collaborate while you are working on projects here at Carderock?
Yeah, I would say that as a teammate, we were really focused on making sure that the group was great, because it's not just enough for the individual to have great marks and the teammates are suffering. So we really tried to build a circle of trust and collaboration, and that fuels everything I do. I try to get to know my coworkers and collaborators, and I think that helps us learn the other person and ultimately give out the best product.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's great. That's great. So, because when you go on rotation, you have to work with different codes. You work, I believe, outside of your specific field. So you got experiences working in materials or survivability. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the things that you picked up or lessons learned from getting that exposure?
Yeah, I would say how interconnected everything is. Even though it's in a different field, it ultimately helps the naval architecture that I do. So I would say that it was awesome getting that exposure into how maybe some engineers focus on one specific topic, but it helps the overall ship design spiral as a whole. And as to my coworkers, when I'm on new rotations, I really love learning new things about them and what their interests are. And it just makes work more enjoyable when you know how to laugh and connect with your coworkers.
Yeah. Let's talk more about that, because every time that I've seen you so far, you are always smiling. You are always in a good mood. You have a pretty infectious spirit. What do you think keeps you just happy and joyful? Do you have a mantra? Do you wake up in the morning and, say affirmations? What do you do? How do you stay so positive?
Good sleep.
Yes.
That's a good thing. But I guess just really getting to know people. I have a side story. Can I share it?
Of course.
When I first started working here, of course, I wanted to meet all of my new coworkers and learn more about naval engineering. So I started doing daily jokes about naval engineering or anything I found funny. And it kind of grew into this lunch community thing where I share the daily joke and they rate it. And I got to know my coworkers well.
Wow.
And then I made my NREP interns share daily jokes, and they got to know each other as well.
So you're a social butterfly. I love that. And an organizer, a planner. What can't you do?
More like forced companionship. Oh, kidding. But as to how I stay so positive, I think just really being grateful for all of the opportunities I've been given. I think it's important to me to step back and take a look at what I've done with my life. I think that being grateful and showing gratitude is really important, because then you can see the bigger picture outside of yourself. And I realized that it's not just about me, it's about how I can help the world. And I think that's when I have like a greater purpose to focus on, it kind of helps me stay calm and happy in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. That's actually really great, Dhiambi, because it really underscores really our mission here at Carderock. Our goal is supporting our warfighter. Our goal is a bigger mission that's outside of ourselves, and sometimes we lose sight of that. And for you to naturally, embody that is just great. It just makes it that much easier for you to keep your eye on the prize. And so you're definitely an asset to, this organization for having that mindset, because it's difficult for a lot of people to keep their eye on the prize. So that's great.
Yeah,
that's really great. You should be proud of that.
Thank you.
So you did not mention it. We haven't talked about it yet, but I happen to know that you are a book lover. So tell me, what types of books do you like to read?
Wow.
And maybe your top 3 books.
Wow. That's
still hard, right?
Yeah. I love to read fiction and memoirs if it's nonfiction. The genre for fiction, I love thrillers or contemporary fiction, I would say. And memoirs, I love learning about people who've overcome or done really cool things with their lives. So top 3 books. Oh man. Okay, I would have to say the first one is Perfume by this author named Patrick Suskind. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
That's okay.
It's about this orphan who developed a really immaculate sense of smell, and it kind of drives him to be a little paranoid.
Okay, that's a good premise. Okay, how about book 2?
Book 2 is Born to Crime by Trevor Noah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's a really funny comedian, and I really love his work.
Yeah, I love him.
And then the third book, I would have to say, Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Oh, yes, I've read that. Yes. Okay, great. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, you like to read. You like to get in there.
I do.
Okay. So, what is some advice that you would give? You've mentored interns coming in. What is some advice that you would give to someone newly coming to Carderock about getting acclimated to the culture here, the work? What advice would you give?
I would definitely say to explore different opportunities. I think that a lot of the people that I've met here have been through the ice cream socials that I've gone to, or workshops that I've attended, or general networking events. So I think I would definitely push newer employees to go out to those things, because you'll never know what you'll find. Actually, at the holiday party 2 years ago, that's how I landed my rotation in survivability and weapons effects, because I beat that guy in Connect 4.
And he owed you a rotation.
And, yes, and I learned more about survivability and weapons effects, and it was really cool. So I would definitely say go seek out new opportunities, and then always believe in yourself. Be my second answer.
That's really good. Who keeps you motivated and confident in your life?
Yeah, I would say that my mom and my sister are definitely my strongest influences. I think that my mom did a really good job of positive reinforcement. She always told me that I was hardworking and I was smart and to believe in myself. And as a young child, I really internalized those messages, and I decided to put all my passion into academics and athletics. And I think without my mom telling me those things, maybe I would have gone down a different path. Yeah. But my mom is just really awesome and kind of telling me that I was always good at these things and kind of pushing me forward. And my sister was also a really great influence on me. We did these things called school Saturdays, where she dressed up in a Harry Potter costume and then just taught me math.
Oh. So she was preparing you for your future career.
I think so. So I knew multiplication before my classmates because of my sister.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. And I think I also have to mention my aunt. My aunt has always been very exuberant, a very confident and loud personality. So I think that's kind of where I get my bubbly nature from, because my aunt is always scheming up new things. And I really love her personality.
Yeah, that's really, really, really good, because you can find a lot of people feel more introverted when they're into more technical things. They like to be very involved in their work, and so to have such a outgoing and exuberant personality is nice. It's rare. You don't see it. You know, people come on different sides of introversion, extroversion, and so I was curious as to what made you so bubbly and just so personable. You're more bubbly than I am. You would start conversations even before I would. So I just think that is really nice. So before we wrap up, we've talked about, where you've come from. We've talked about the things that you're working on. I'd like to know, you've had such a great start to your career. What's next? What do you want to do? Where do you want to see your career go in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I would say that I would definitely like to get more technical experience and go on as many technical projects as I can. I would love to be a team lead for future engineers as well and kind of teach them about the whole ship design spiral. And I think just constantly learning and growing. I'd like to stay challenged in my efforts, and hopefully I get more of those opportunities here. And I think that I will. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think you will too, Dhiambi. I think you have a great personality. You're very bright, and you do have the personality to lead. You're already doing it now, so I wish you nothing but success here. And I appreciate you allowing us to go under the surface.
Thank you.